is your host, Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of Straight Talk with Trevor.
Because the ladies from Pour Your Heart Out
no topic
will be over here to
limits.
join the panel.
Plus, but it's a must, you gon' respect this. Plus, it never touch the dust, you try to check this. You ain't insane.
The MMA brothers, Bones and Zay, have pre and post shows to the MMA shows. And I am your host, Mr. Straight Talk, the man with the greatest beard on YouTube. Oh, I love throwing that in there. Real quick, I am back on Facebook. I guess they took me out of jail. I was able to connect the channel back. Those of you on Facebook, make sure and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Man Talk Monday. This is the flagship show of the Straight Talk Society. This is the show that you're going to get all your, drama topics. This is a show that you may get your arguments. This is a show where we're going to talk about not one specific thing, but we dabble around the world of pop culture and the men just banter about it. So that's what this show is. But if this show isn't for you, and I don't know why it wouldn't be, but we also have other shows. The highly acclaimed Tape Fist Politics, Venkat, Mike, MD, and Ricardo do such a fantastic job with that. That's every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Hey, if that doesn't fancy your boat, then be sure to tune into Wrestling with Reality. Today we have the return of Straight Talk Therapy Sessions with the one and only Dr. Mia. So y'all be sure and tune into that. So tonight we have a fantastic show tonight, the Straight Talk Society. We will not go over that 2.5 hour mark. So Mike, you ain't got no shirt on, right?
I never have clothes on, bro.
But I'm saying you like right on the like crazy.
My bad. I don't like clothes, bro. Anybody that knows me, my
crazy.
I don't like clothes, bro. You won't say. My bad.
Yeah, about to have me some Dr. What the f? What the heck? What the heck? I had my mouth. What the f?
Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
Let us be aware that while they preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, and predict its eventual domination of all peoples on the earth, they are the focus of evil in the modern world. It was C.S. Lewis who in his unforgettable screw tape letters wrote, "The greatest evil is not done now in those sordid dens of crime that Dickens loved to paint. It is not even done in concentration camps and labor camps. In those we see its final result. But it is conceived and ordered, moved, seconded, carried, and minuted in clear, carpeted, warmed, and well-lighted offices by quiet men with white collars and cut fingernails and smooth-shaven cheeks who do not need to raise their voice. But because these quiet men do not raise their voices, because they sometimes speak in soothing tones of brotherhood and peace, because like other dictators before them, they're always making their final territorial demand, some would have us accept them at their word and accommodate ourselves to their aggressive impulses. But if history teaches anything, it teaches that simple-minded appeasement or wishful thinking about our adversaries is folly. It means the betrayal of our past, the squandering of our freedom. So I urge you to speak out against those who would place the United States in a position of military and moral inferiority. You know, I've always believed that old Screwtape reserved his best efforts for those of you in the church. So in your discussions of the nuclear freeze proposals, I urge you to beware the temptation of pride, the temptation of blithely declaring yourselves above it all, and label both sides equally at fault, to ignore the facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire, to simply call the arms race a giant misunderstanding, and thereby remove yourself from the struggle between right and wrong and good and evil.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
Alright, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Niggas, you crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Stay shut your mouth. Because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I did.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical.
Hold it. Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by with your shut up, man.
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I had the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
That was sarcastic.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
All right. Good evening. This is Venkat, and we're live for another edition of Tape Fist Politics. I have my co-host here, Senor Others. What's going on?
Ozales. Ozales.
Oh, there's.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
I have just recently returned from Germany, and I've realized that Ozels are everywhere. I am Team Ozel.
Hey, that's a big voting block, those others. I'll tell you that.
This is a fact.
That's right, sir. Hey, so we got tonight, we got a packed show tonight. Tonight we want to go ahead and we're gonna do the show lineup. Give me just a second here. We're gonna run down what the lineup of the show is tonight. All right, so tonight's lead story is gonna be cops. There's there's a never-ending rabbit hole you can go down with a lot of the bad things that we've seen with cops. There's some good things as well. So we'll just have a conversation tonight. There's a video that I do want to play, and I'm interested to see what the reaction will be and what our thoughts are on it. To me, it's deeply troubling, but we'll go on that in just a moment. We'll also have coming up what's going on in the news in politics. Mitt Romney's pre-taped video that he did about the pretty much retiring from politics. So that'll be interesting. We'll have of course our favorite, the lame duck session. See who gets to be added to the quack pack tonight.
Yes, sir.
And then State of the Union. That's going to be covering the auto worker strike. We'll give our thoughts and our opinions on that. And then we'll finish off the nightcap video with the drugs. The drug industry, pharmaceutical industries, ineffective drugs that have been proclaimed to be that after some research.
And just in case anyone asks, my vote for lame duck is always Trevor because it ticks him off.
I want to say a shout out to Trevor. He's the architect, the brainchild behind the Straight Talk Society.
Yes,
Give
sir.
a shout out to Trevor. Give a shout out to Nene. Shout out to
Nene said she's not my friend anymore.
What do you mean by that?
Because we were on the show and she was making a point, and she was like, "Now you see my good friend Moon Goddess. It's not like if Mike did something." I was like, "What you mean by that?"
What you mean?
You feel me? I'm sensitive.
All right. So I don't know if there's an issue with the video itself. Looks like it's saying that it's episode 5, but it is indeed episode 4. I don't know how that mix-up happened, but I just want to clarify. So this episode is episode 4, Cops, Protectors or Predators. So that's what we're going to do.
See into the future, bro.
What's that?
YouTube knows we see into the future.
Yeah, all day, every day.
You feel me?
So we're gonna go ahead and start off with our lead story, and like I said, that's gonna be the cops piece. So let's go ahead and just start that story, and then we'll get our reactions after.
Let's do it.
The Office of Police Accountability is now investigating after body cam footage shows how Seattle police reacted to the death of this woman, Janavi Kandula.
And she was hit and killed by an officer headed to an overdose call in South Lake Union back in January. On the way, Officer Kevin Dave hit and killed a college student with his patrol car. The audio recording under investigation is believed to be the voice of Officer Daniel Otterer, the Seattle Police Officers Guild vice president. And in it, you can hear him talking to someone else on body cam video after Dave hit and killed the student. And we do have to warn you, what you're about to hear is disturbing.
This video from a Seattle police officer's body-worn camera captures what sounds like a callous disregard for human life.
I think she went up on the hood, hit the windshield, then when he hit the brakes, flew off the car. But she is dead.
That's the voice of SPD officer Detective Daniel Otterer. It's recorded January 24th, one day after a woman, 23-year-old John V. Kundula, was struck and killed by another officer's squad car while that officer was responding to a call. Kundula was in a crosswalk when she was hit by the patrol car that was going 63 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone.
It does not seem like there's a criminal investigation going on.
In a different portion of the call, the officer appears to be talking about paying off the victim's family, such as a monetary settlement if the family were to sue the department.
No, it's a regular person. Yeah, just write a check. Just, yeah, $11,000. She was 26 anyway. She had limited value.
Seattle police say the video was flagged by a department employee, say the Office of Police Accountability is now investigating. But that's not blunting the impact for some.
I don't even have the words to describe how I feel. I'm sickened, for one thing. And it's doing a lot of damage.
Victoria Beach works with new Seattle police recruits.
Somebody died. How do you laugh and joke about something like that? Whether you agree or not, keep your mouth shut if you have comments like that. And especially you're an officer, we don't need you. You're not what Seattle Police Department wants.
As for the officer heard in the video, King 5 has confirmed he's also the vice president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild, the largest law enforcement labor union in the Northwest. The Guild did not return a request for comment.
Yesterday, dozens of people gathered at the state capitol to show solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. Organizers say they wanted to show the Black Lives Matter movement is continuing and they are working to change the country. During that protest, someone captured video of what they claim is a state trooper giving a white power symbol to someone. You can see in the video, the officer puts his thumb and index finger together while leaving the other three fingers up. That symbol has been used by white supremacist groups. State police say they condemn all racist behaviors and do not allow white supremacist behaviors by their officers and staff.
New questions tonight for the Miami Police Department after another questionable photo comes to the surface, this time involving the top cop. We first told you how an officer was taken off the streets for flashing a controversial sign while taking a group photo. Now, the chief is accused of doing the same thing. Local 10's Glenna Milberg is live with what she's learned. Glenna.
This is the photo that started it all. Officer Daniel Ubeda at the end flashing a hand signal like the one the Anti-Defamation League shows, co-opted by racists as WP for white power. Seen at a Florida Trump rally, seen at a Marlins Cubs game. Now, after our Local 10 report about the department's investigation of Officer Ubeda's moves, someone unearthed this photo from the days Miami Police Chief Art Acevedo was Houston's police chief. So we unearthed some context.
That's at Jack Yates High School in 3rd Ward. There's so much pride. That's a historically African-American community in Houston. If you talk to any 3rd Ward person, they call that throwing up the threes.
Sure enough, a quick online search shows all kinds of examples of Houston's 3rd Ward sign of pride, including from Beyonce repping her hometown. Clearly, a photo's context and intent matter. So, what was Officer Ubeda's intent here?
I think this signal he knows, but this is, I mean, in our opinion, a whole different signal.
The police union's president says Ubeda was signaling 3 and 3, 6 for the number of motormen on his shift. Nothing about white power. It'll be up to investigators to find evidence otherwise. Now that the chief proved a photo's context and intent is everything.
You ain't gotta get off now. You ain't gotta get off. You don't have to get off now. You don't have to. Can you
You escalated the situation, and it's on.
These photos you might have seen circulating on social media over the weekend of Austin Police Department officers posing in photos with protesters gesturing the white power hand symbol.
Tonight, both West Point and the U.S. Naval Academy have launched investigations into what cadets and midshipmen meant when they flashed a hand gesture on live TV at Saturday's Army-Navy game. David Martin reports on this growing controversy.
What were they thinking? During a pregame show, a few cadets and midshipmen flashed a sign that to most people simply means okay, but has been classified as a hate symbol by the Anti-Defamation League.
All right. So that's our lead story. Cops, the police, Popo, one time, whatever you want to call them. You know, everything isn't all bad, but there is a lot of bad here. Multiple things in that video. First story, the first part of the story with the young girl getting killed, and then the very nonchalant attitude towards her death. That was appalling. And then some examples of where we see an excessive amount of white supremacists, racist people, white, you know, just going into policing for obvious reasons. So what are our viewpoints on that? I'll start with Mike on that one.
I tell people all the time, the FBI let a report out that stated white supremacists are joining the police force and have indoctrinated the police force at alarming rates. Nobody has done a thing about it. It came out and it left like a Lil Wayne feature. That was it. People act like it's a joke because it doesn't affect them. It affects us. That's why I'm always team us, because any other race that says, oh, we ride, we understand, we feel you, whenever it comes time to put themselves in line, they always flake out. You might get one or two at a rally, but when it comes time to put up, or you might lose your stuff, they always cower, they always leave. It's always us. That's why the only person allowed to my cookout is Jane Elliott. These police have, and I know people like to say, oh, there's good police. No, I do not believe there are. I'm sorry, because the bad police are in positions of power and have been. And if you can be, it's the same way when I tell my friends that joins gangs, and they're like, yeah, but you know, I'm like this. And I'm like, but if you're a dude higher in the gang tells you to do something, you're going to do it, right? He's like, well, yeah, I got to. Then you're just as bad. I've seen police try to do good things, get reprimanded, never do it again. I've seen a police sergeant choke a female officer and barely get in any trouble. I've seen, dude, you can go down the list of this corruption that this section of our government has. And they have the strongest lobby in the world. I don't care what you think. This police lobby is the strongest thing in the world.
And speaking of that lobby, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike. That lobby in the video, they did explain that guy was like a vice president in the police union, in his union. So I mean, you have a guy has that kind of power, and you see how he's operating. So, what do you think the people that are under him are operating like? You know, that's just very, very troublesome.
It's one of two things. It's, okay, let me watch out. Let me just be careful. I don't want him to get mad at me. Or it's, I can do whatever the hell I want. Ain't no one gonna stop me. Dude, I've seen a police officer say that I saw this guy's brake light was out. They looked at the video and he was in front of the car. The judge just released the ticket because they're like, it's impossible, you couldn't. Then they went to go chastise him, and they couldn't even do it because the police association wouldn't allow them to. They were like, no, he might have seen a reflection. Like that, just common sense stuff. It's impossible because their lobby is so strong. And if you hear the things he said, 11,000, she has limited value. Like, that is the most disgusting, filthy thing I've heard a person say about another person. And guess what? I guarantee you, 90%, he was talking to another cop. Bet money he was talking to another
100,
cop.
100,
You feel me?
100%. Yep.
He was talking, and the other cop was saying just this horrible stuff because I know how they are. I know. I used to work in corrections. I know how they get down. I used to work for TSA. They say you're not allowed to mess with people just because they're Muslim, and it's against the law. So you know what they do? They go, that guy looks suspicious. Same thing with police. When they have nothing to pull you over, I ran your tags and they came back as nothing. They'll put the wrong number in so they can go back afterward and say, oops, my mistake, I pushed the wrong button, I'm sorry. But when they get to your car, I smell marijuana. Get out. I'm not
Right,
These are things they do. They're the most corrupt thing in the world. Everyone knows the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And they have absolute power. They have it. People think you can go to court. You think you can go to the judge and cry to the judge. The judge works with them.
100.
The judge drinks with the DA.
100%.
There is no way out.
So before I go to Ricardo, I just want to add one more piece of information. So this video with this cop laughing and having a great time, and the fact that this girl's dead, I want to say she was like 16 or something of that nature. But this actually happened in January of this year. I guess the footage was just released last week. So I didn't know anything about this. I just stumbled across this in the last few days. So that just infuriated me even more. But Ricardo, what are your thoughts on this situation? Oh, I guess Ricardo's not with us. Hold on.
Well, I'm
Okay, there we
disgusted.
go.
And people stuff like this needs to come out so people like Kevin can see it, because they're the first ones to say, well, no white person's ever done anything to me.
Can y'all hear me?
Because they know better. Yeah, we hear you, bro.
Hola.
They
Testing,
know
testing,
they
1,
need
2,
to
3.
smile in public.
Hey, Ricardo.
Like this needs to come out so people like Kevin see it. They're the first ones to say, well, no white person's ever done anything to me. Yeah, because they know better.
Ricardo, you hear me?
They know they need to smile in public.
Oh, I think that's feedback from the TV. Ricardo, you hear me?
No, that's a
I
repeat.
can hear you, but there's a lot of feedback, so I think there's technical issues still.
Feedback from the TV.
Somebody needs to mute up. I'll mute up and see if it's me. It's you, Cardi.
Ricardo, you hear me?
I can hear you, but there's a lot of feedback. So.
All right, so he's probably got to go out and come back in. That's probably the best case scenario right now to fix the issue. So this is a highly disturbing story here, and I added the whole link with white supremacists. I also put in that other middle story there where it looked bad on the cop's end, but he was throwing up a completely different sign. But it's just funny how white supremacists co-opted the OK sign and made it their own thing to pretty much spell out WP, white power.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. At any given time, I was just saying, hey, I saw a friend of mine. I said, okay, nice to see you. It's what they do.
Right. I mean, when I don't endorse the Taliban or Al Qaeda or any of these terrorists, but when they hit, they say, "Yep, we did that here." They're not running from what they're doing.
Yep.
But there is a very cowardly aspect to these so-called white supremacists. Plus, when you take a look at The Rock or some, built guy that's black, and then you look at Bubba. I don't want to stereotype, but I'm just saying it's just a funny thing, how they got the bare bellies and whatnot, but they're white supremacists. They're superior to everybody else. I just find that to be nonsense.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's not those days of thinking I'm better. That's all it is. They have no aspirations of being rich anymore. They just have to hold up this BS to show that they are better than you. I might live in a double wide trailer. I might not have running water, but I'm not you darkies. That's how they all feel. That's why I don't trust any old person, any old white person. I don't trust you automatically. Hey, I'm sorry. You got to prove to me that unless you Jane Elliott, I don't trust you.
I can understand that train of thought. I definitely can understand that. I've always recognized that the big issue isn't really race. It's rich versus poor, but they use race to put the onus on that and get off the subject of rich versus poor. So when you make people that are less than the rich, make them feel emboldened and entitled, and have them able to move on something like racism and I'm better than black people and this, they're busy putting all their energy and hate into people that are not like them or don't look like them, rather than channeling that energy towards the guy that's shafting you for money that you're working for. But it's always been that. It's always been about that exploitation of workers, exploitation of as cheap or free labor as possible to get as much out of nothing. That's the mantra here. But they've done an interesting job of using racism as a tool to get the minds of both sides, black, white, everybody in between. And it's still to this day, it's very troubling. Still to this day, people will not let go or not see the actual truth behind this stuff.
Dude, I keep telling people, you remember when I used to argue with Yanga and all of them, and they'd be like, so what are we going to do? You're just going to think white supremacy is going to win? I'm like, white supremacy is the most genius thing of all time. People don't seem to understand. Like, I tell them always to go look back at the Baker's Rebellion and realize that black people, white people, Native Americans, Asians, Spanish, we were all fighting against the rich whites for over a year. Think about that. A fight for over a year, physical, weapons, all that. And the only thing that stopped it was that rich whites told poor whites, you're better than them Negroes and those spics. You're better than those niggers. You're better than those Apache or whatever the hell. That's all that stopped it. They passed a bunch of laws that said if you're a white woman and you marry a black, then you lose your white service. If you're an indentured servitude, you have to stay in there longer. You're not allowed to buy land. They just told them if you marry black or you join the blacks, you're no longer a citizen. You're beneath us. But if you stay white, you'll be all right. And they bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. And it's been that way ever since. We weren't even saying black and white. They were saying, oh, my country was better. Where I come from is better than your country. Then they all decide, oh, we're all white. That's black people never unified. We just were the others. It's like the Bloods. There wasn't no Bloods. It was Crips. Crips whooping ass. And then all of a sudden they were like, well, we got to do something. We getting the ass whooped. And they joined together and became the Bloods.
But you would have had neither if it wasn't for the spook hunters and all these other white gangs that were terrorizing black people back in the 50s and the 60s. So gangs became a necessity. And originally it was just to fight back racist white people. Then it turned into a whole other thing with the crack epidemic and all this other nonsense, which is thanks to Ronald Reagan.
But you basically said white supremacy, because that's all I hear when I hear Ronald Reagan name.
Oh, of course, 100%, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops, they're supposed to serve and protect. They're supposed to bring up the community. They're supposed to be one or a part of the community. You know, these cops that are living outside of the areas that they're policing, that's problematic. You should live in the same neighborhoods. You should be going and meeting and knowing the people that are in the neighborhood. Clearly, this guy didn't give a goddamn. I mean, he wasn't even, it wasn't him that hit the girl. It was another cop. But the way he was just, I mean, it was like such an afterthought. And now you think about George Floyd, and you think about, days after that happened. And then what did you see online? You saw a lot of racist white, mainly men, but women too, a lot of racist white people putting their own reenactment comedy skit photos of a guy kneeling on their neck, pretending to be dead and stuff like that. So, like, no matter what, there could be aliens coming out of space saying, if you don't unanimously agree on the same thing, the whole world blow up. We're gonna always have somebody that's gonna be like, no, I'm against this or I'm against that, and it's just never gonna be. But the thing that I look at is, well, how much of the bad qualities or the bad behavior of people are we going to co-sign and shelter? People talk about woke culture and all this other stuff. I don't look at it like that. I look at it as accountability. And it just seems like certain people have a problem with accountability. And that's just, it just blows my mind. But the policing, I mean, I've had my own issues with police. I've never really had a positive interaction with a cop outside of like the airport, which doesn't count because they're in the airport. Those are different types of cops. They're not like on high alert. I mean, they're on high alert, but not to that effect, like when you're out in the streets. But
Bro, they consider that a cushy, relaxed job.
Right.
Trust me, I know.
That's a cushy gig. That's a cushy gig. You're right.
I used to work. It's like working security. I used to work there. Trust me.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. Like, a cop just got killed. He was ambushed in L.A. He was ambushed and killed. The guy was 29 years old, 30-year-old cop. And we don't know the motive, but he was in his car. The guy ambushed, shot, and killed the cop. And, there was a vigil, and I didn't want to include that footage in there because I don't want to be George H.W. Bush using a tragic cop death to spin a narrative or something of that nature. I didn't want to do that, but it's tough. But at the same point, I was looking and waiting for the research that they always do when it's somebody black, especially a young black male. When Trayvon died, there was all this research done by reporters. Oh, he smoked marijuana in middle school or whatever the hell. Like, why are we looking for all that to discredit and tarnish a person's name? Person passed away, especially in a bad way, and now we're just doing all this extra. And you never see that with a cop's death. But I just wish that more accountability. Those cameras that Obama had, for them to put on they're not perfect, on the uniforms. It's not perfect, but you wouldn't have got that. You wouldn't have gotten these kind of videos and that's seen the real ugly truth behind the police if it wasn't for that.
Why are you trying to get me mad? You know I can't stand Obama with them stupid cameras.
Thanks, Obama.
No, ain't no thanks, Obama. If Obama wanted thanks, he should have made it so they can't turn on, can't turn off, and can't be muted. They attach it to your shirt and they're on for your whole shift. Period, point blank.
I agree.
I don't care if you taking a potty. You are an officer. You get to kill people. We get to hear you pee. Grow up.
Hey, I agree. They do love turning them off. They do love turning off.
What you mean, bro? They cover them up so you can't hear them. They put their hand over the speaker. They mute them all the time. All the time. I've seen, bro. And the funny part is they're not even good at it. I saw a guy mute a phone, mute a mic so that they couldn't hear him say, hey, I'm going to plant these drugs on these guys. But the other guy he was talking to, his thing was on.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. And then he takes the mute button off, goes in the car and plants the drugs and doesn't turn his own camera off. These are not rocket scientists. They're idiots. And that's why I'm mad at all. But if you really wanted to, I'm trying to tell you. I know you guys ain't feeling it like I am. I have worked in corrections. I've worked in TSA, and you get to work close with police, and you get to work with people who want to be police, who want a badge, who think they're there. There are people who wake up every morning just to mess with people. I promise you. They wake up every morning thinking nothing more than I get to step on Negroes today.
It's kind of funny that someone that's a police officer, the situation when you're dealing with a police officer can go really bad, just in depending on if maybe that person got like a bad phone call just before seeing you, or maybe they just got some sort of problem in their personal life, and that is all it takes from you getting home or not.
Facts.
And that's really troubling. Hey, Ricardo, you're back now. You can hear us. Your mic is good.
What up, Twizzy?
What's your viewpoint?
Yeah, so about an incident in Seattle with that that poor can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to be quiet.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
So I saw that too, and I was a little bit perturbed as for what really transpired, because I mean the one cop that really made the comments, he didn't do anything per se other than make his opinion, but the fact that he said it out loud and so brashful makes it so much more worse than the person that actually hit the actual girl. So his rationale and his thinking was really, really concerning, and I think it really struck a nerve with everyone, because for you to speak that brashly and then say, "Oh, she's just like he's trying to say she was like a regular soul," and we just threw $10,000, $11,000, whatever money it is at her. They won't care. Life will continue on. It's like, really? That's your thought process? Like, you literally, like, a police, or I should say a law enforcement officer, just really ran over an abiding citizen just going about her business on a regular day, a student at that. You took away a part of society that will never, come back. Like, are you really that kind of a vile individual? But then again, nothing surprises anymore. We've mentioned George Floyd. We've mentioned in the chat, I mentioned Sandra Bland's incident when she was pulled over in Texas at a stop.
Michael Brown.
And cover that up, and she died in some really strange circumstances in that jail cell. And you took the picture of her with her eyes open, but then they're like, "Oh, this is what she looked like." Really? Like, she was dead the whole time. So.
Wow.
Really surprises us anymore when it comes to law enforcement. Now, that's kind of sad. And I also want to touch back or go back to what Mike said. When Obama introduced the whole camera thing with law enforcement, he was trying to throw an olive branch, because we were really worked up. Remember, at the time, the Black community was like, really, this is just not gonna, we can't take this anymore. Like, we've went through Rodney King in LA in 1992, 1993, or somewhere around that time, when that struck
91, 91.
Right, when that struck a chord with us from LA. George Floyd really didn't just touch this country, touched everywhere else. If you notice,
worldwide.
Right, it was a worldwide thing, because I guess with the camera, with social media and everything spreads like wildfire. Everybody saw the whole thing, so it was like, oh, damn. Now, what are we going to do about it? So I remember him doing a press conference on TV, and, he brought about everybody on, and he was like, oh, and then I remember one of the law enforcement was like, we go through so much stuff on the road, and what are you going to do for us? And it was kind of like, it felt like the All Lives Matter people coming out to play, like, oh, but you do this for them, what about us? And so it created like a division in a sense, and I think Mike is correct. You should have just forced it, because at this point, what if they could cover up anything, you could still have the camera on, and then they still will find a way to turn it off. Oh, it just accidentally ran out of power. Oh, I just happened to not put it on today. Like, my question now is, who is policing the police? Like, is there somebody overseeing anything they're doing anymore? Because they're just getting away with murder at this point. and no one's calling them out. I don't see politicians calling them out. I don't see their unions calling them out. And at this point, we need to keep them accountable. So if you're gonna kill based on how this cop said brashfully, oh, it's just a regular soul, blah blah blah. I should take away their pension. If you do something unscrupulous as a law enforcement officer, I feel you should take away their pension, or or reduce it at some point. So at least it sends a message. Because if he's literally gonna walk scotch free and just smile like nothing happened, and then they're gonna be like, oh, on to the next. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
And it's like, which I want to see which party, because you have the Republicans that are spineless and they always go for the, oh, we're law abiding and blah blah blah, but yet you don't do anything. Which one is going to struck a chord and say, listen, enough is enough? If you continue doing this as a law enforcement officer, maybe now it's time that we just take away your privileges, take away your pension, take away something that would then say, maybe now is the time that we just need to like buckle up, tighten up. It's not working. You know what I mean? But we're never going to see that happen. You're just too embedded, again, with the white supremacy, again, with the judges and the what you call the prosecutors. All of them are all aligned together. So how do we move past this? I don't know, but something's got to give.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, like you said, who's policing the police and the whole justice system in itself? Because that is problematic that you have lawyers, judges, cops, and politicians, and all these people in higher powered in society positions. They're all connected in some way. So how can you truly get any justice if you're slighted by any one of those people that are a member of that club? You'll never get anywhere with that. You'll never have any kind of just scenarios. You just got to hope and pray that you don't cross one of their paths. And that's not the way. I mean, we talk about the land of the free and all this other nonsense, which is, America is not free. It's not even the fifth or sixth or seventh freest country in the world, as far as when you break down the laws, which if you analyze like how free you really are, we're not. And we just have major issues that is not really that difficult to solve, but the people that can make the moves happen have a vested interest in keeping things the way they are. And that's a problem.
Next.
All right, so we're gonna go into the next segment here, and it's gonna be the political news portion. We'll be right back. Okay, so I put up this graphic on here because I think it goes with the next segment that we're going to look into. So as you can see, there's an awful lot of old geezers, and this is just the Senate, by the way. This is just the Senate. We're not talking about the Supreme Court. We're not talking about Congress and other governors and other positions throughout the country. This is just senators here. So, I think the most youthful person here is what? In their late 70s? Wow. I mean, you're a spring chicken if you're in your 70s up in here, man. But at this point, I just want to take a look at Mitt Romney. I've not been completely all the way in with Mitt Romney. There were things I vehemently disagree with him on, but he's done a few things here and there that I've noticed. I'm like, oh, that's kind of admirable, and I think this story is as well.
You know, contrary to a lot of expectations, I enjoy my work in the Senate a good deal. I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders. They're the ones that need to make the decisions that will shape the world they will be living in. Now, we face critical challenges: mounting national debt, climate change, and the ambitious authoritarians of Russia and China. Neither President Biden nor former President Trump are leading their party to confront those issues. On deficits and debt, both men refuse to address entitlements, even though they know that this represents 2/3 of federal spending. Donald Trump calls global warming a hoax, and President Biden offers feel-good solutions that make no difference to the global climate. On China, President Biden underinvests in the military, and President Trump underinvests in our alliances. Political motivations too often impede the solutions that these challenges demand. The next generation of leaders must take America to the next stage of global leadership. While I'm not running for re-election, I'm not retiring from the fight. I'll be your United States Senator until January of 2025. I will keep working on these and other issues, and I'll advance our state's numerous priorities. I look forward to working with you and with folks across our state and nation in that endeavor. It really is a profound honor to serve Utah and the country, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so.
Okay, what's our response to the Mitt Romney video we just witnessed? We'll start with Ricardo this time.
So, Mitt. I agree with him. I think it's time for him to go. He is served well. I mean, there's moments where I didn't agree with him when he was running for office against Obama, I believe. I think it's admirable that he can now look at his age and say, you know what, it's time for me to step aside. I don't know if everybody else would do the same that's in his party, but I commend him for doing his due diligence, and I wish him well. Now, with the old school going out and the new school coming in, the replacements are going to be my issue, and I don't know who the replacements are, but let's hope they could be as admirable as he was.
Mike?
That's it.
Sadly, I must say, I believe Mitt Romney is one of the better Republicans we've had in a very long time. He and Senor Shoulders Can't Move. I can't remember his name. What was the Shoulders Can't Move guy's name again?
Shoulders Can't Move?
Remember the guy who can't pick his arms up?
You're talking about, wait a minute.
He was running for president?
Oh, wait a minute. You're not talking about McCain or nothing, right?
Yeah. Shoulders Can't Move McCain. Yeah.
No, I heard that before.
What? That man couldn't Harlem Shake for nothing. But don't make me laugh. I'm serious face. It's politics. But them two, I think if Trump never arrived, like, feel me on this. If Trump never arrived on the scene, I think there was a chance to lead the Republican Party back to common sense. I think these two men would have of course, there's only so much you can do because Mitch McConnell still exists. And Orrin Hatch still had his little, all the old Dixie bat, whatever. But these two had a chance to lead the Republican Party to some semblance of something that would make me go, let me look at them again. Because both of those guys are people who I did not hate. and I hate the majority of Republicans. I hate the majority of Democrats too. Let's be clear. But I hate them for their policies. I hate the Republicans for their whole pseudo moral stance on life. Like just the fake, oh, but I'm here for my views of, and everyone should be able to. Yeah, as soon as they don't agree with you, you want to ship them and throw them in the sea and push them off the boat like slaves that are sick. But that's neither here nor there. These two men, I think, had some morals and they stuck by it. I remember watching, I think it was McCain, like talk down a woman who was saying Obama was a Muslim and he was a terrorist. And she was like, no, ma'am. I don't agree with him, but I don't agree with his policies. He's a good man. He's a good family man. He's a good Christian man. And I was like, what?
You don't see that in today's politics at all, for the most part.
That's what I'm saying. And I think Romney, was Romney the one that had what was it, the nigger toes?
Yeah, Mitt Romney was, the way he ran in 2012 was kind of infuriating because there were a lot of racist stuff being said around his campaign, but it didn't necessarily come out of his mouth, and he never checked anyone, he never corrected, he never did anything. He just kind of like moved past to the next question. And that was the thing that really pissed me off about Mitt Romney. And then also, I'm sorry, Mike. I just was going to say, and then also as far as with Trump, and if Trump wouldn't have gotten there, they would be better. I don't think so, because this Trump thing didn't start with Trump. If you remember Sarah Palin, that kind of atmosphere was already there. Trump just kind of opened up the floodgates on it.
See, if Trump didn't show up, Sarah Palin would be some loudmouth woman that a couple renegades follow out there in Alaska, Mrs. I have foreign policy because I can see Russia, moron. But
Russia
that was still the funniest thing ever. But Trump made it mainstream. You see what I'm saying? NWA was gangster rap, but they was over in LA doing it, and people were like, oh, snap, it's crazy over there. It's crazy over there. But Tupac made everybody think they could actually be a thug. You see what I'm saying? So it's different. And Death Row, like it was different. And he is the Tupac of horribleness. That's you know what I'm saying? He's the Tupac of horribleness. That's just who he is. And it's just, bro, it's like if he didn't, because he was actually the fertilizer that allowed all the disgust and the filth that Republicans used to say, oh, well, we're not doing that. We can't help who votes for us, but we don't do that. They went from that to, well, he's not that bad a guy. I've met him. What are you talking about? He's the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Hey, what he does in his own time is his business. Like, that's who they are now. That's who they are now. And that's because of Trump.
Finally.
Good point there with MD talking about the Tea Party. That was also a catalyst there too. The progression of the nuttiness in the Republican Party has been going on for a little bit now.
Yeah, it's good, dude. There's always been everybody knows Republicans. Everybody knows that when you talked about Republicans from back in the day, there was a group on the bottom that was nuts that wanted to kill everything black and everything not Christian. Then you had the people who were like, okay, we deal with the racists, but we're really just conservative Christians. You know what I'm saying? Then you had your super far right Bible people who want to murder anyone that thought about not having a baby. But as soon as the baby came out, they didn't want to look at it. You had your fringe people. But Trump gave all these people a pulpit and a person to feel like we deserve to be normalized. You know how people go, normalize, blah, 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 blah. Trump did it. He normalized insanity. He normalized insanity and horribleness as a characteristic or as a character flaw, and he normalized it. And he made it seem like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. Yo, the man made fun of a handicapped man on TV. And no, matter of fact, I'll take all that back. People use the phrase, what's that thing they say when it's not a lie, it's something else facts?
Oh, I know.
What's that thing he said?
Alternative
facts.
Yeah.
Yo, I thought the thing that annoyed me the most was when people say, you ask somebody, do you agree with this? And they go, well, I do agree with it, but at the same time, I don't. I hate when people say that. Pick one. Stop being stupid. You know, if you agree or you don't agree.
Let's agree to disagree. It's a cop out.
I hate all that stuff. But
Yeah.
nothing was more destructive to our foundation as a country than alternative facts. There's no such thing as an alternative fact. There is a fact, and then there is things that are wrong. That's it. The sky can't be blue and be green.
Like they're trying to say,
and let's be clear,
they won't say lies.
Exactly.
They won't say Trump is telling lies. It's got to be disinformation.
Please, it's a lie. And you know what that opened up? Let's be clear. And I'm sorry, my LGBTQWXYZ plus 5 to the third power people. You know what that opened up? That's why cis people exist. Because in my alternative fact, I can be a woman because I put a dress on. See how that works?
Yeah, I mean
Everything is an alternative fact. That's
the
where
spin factor. The spin factor is like a tornado upgraded to a hurricane. I mean, everything is getting spin, and this is the thing. Sometimes you don't know what is real and what is not real. I mean, just because something is repeated over and over doesn't make it real.
But in this country, it is. Because look at homeboy that played Kane. Everybody said he is a vicious beater of women. His girlfriend was, we have a video that shows she was out clubbing that night. What? No, we don't want to let facts get in the way of a good lie. That's the country we live in.
Right. Ricardo, anything else on that you would like to add?
No, I think Mike covered the grounds pretty well there. I mean, completely agree. Like the fringe part of the Republican Party has always been hilarious to me because you have like the different sects of them. You have the Tea Party, then you have, I don't even know what group they have now. Probably the Trumpers and the Never Trumpers.
You got QAnon. You got QAnon.
So they all just manifest themselves into different variations of something else. So at this point, it's like, okay, I'm interested to see what they're coming up with next week. You know,
sir, did you steal my word?
What word?
Hilarious. That's my word.
Yeah, I was trying to troll you a little bit there.
This man stole my word and ain't even cite his page.
But yeah, that's
okay. All right, so we came to the part of the show where we're going into my favorite and your favorite, and it's the lame duck session.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready?
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys. I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced. I'm tired of being quiet. I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Okay.
The Trevor Awards.
The Trevor Award. So tonight we have our latest edition, the newest member of the Quack Pack. And tonight's lame duck is going to go to Lauren Boebert, the Republican representative in Congress. She had an eventful weekend, not last weekend, but the weekend before. So let's just take a look at this video and we'll be right back.
Well, developing right now, Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert removed from the audience during the musical of Beetlejuice in Denver.
So we've got her response here on social media and more on what exactly happened. Although, as we talked to Fox 31's Lisa D'Souza, there are kind of some missing pieces to the story here, Lisa.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, but no doubt this is a bizarre situation that we are talking about here. And Congresswoman Boebert seems to kind of be making a joke about the whole thing. So again, apparently what happened here is that she was kicked out of a performance here in downtown Denver of Beetlejuice, a musical, the musical Beetlejuice. It's been performing here throughout the week. So here's a breakdown of what all unfolded. So this reportedly happened on Sunday. A spokesperson for the Buell Theater, where we're at here this morning, wouldn't name names, but confirming that 2 people in the audience were in fact asked to leave. Now, people sitting nearby apparently upset that they were reportedly vaping in their seats. They were on their phones and otherwise disturbing guests. A theater spokesperson reportedly says a police officer was called. No official report was taken, however. Now, Boebert seems to be confirming it all and again, just kind of laughing the whole thing off. Take a look. You can see here in a recent post on the website X, which, you know, formerly known as Twitter. She says, "It's true, I did thoroughly enjoy the amazing Beetlejuice," going on to say she was laughing and singing too loud, adding, if anybody sees it this week, hey, let her know how it ends. So a spokesperson for the Congresswoman does reportedly deny that she was vaping, said she did take a photo because she was unaware. They're not allowed to take photos inside the theater during a show.
And security video from a weekend performance of Beetlejuice, where the Congresswoman was kicked out of the theater for being disruptive. The DCPA says she was vaping. Boebert's team denied that, said the haze was from fog machines in the show. That claim goes up in smoke when you see the video. The pregnant woman sitting behind Boebert told the Denver Post she asked her to stop vaping, and Boebert refused. Her one-woman show continued, taking flash photos, raising her hands and dancing, often the only one clapping or standing up in the crowd. Boebert occasionally took a break from being disruptive to enjoy the company of her male companion. He briefly had a grasp on the situation before ushers returned and told Boebert she had to leave. The theater's incident report says Boebert pulled the "Don't you know who I am" card on the way out, appearing to give theater employees the single-finger salute.
Her date is feeling all up on her titties. He's got the hand going full effect. Her hand is on his dick. Now she's got both hands on his dick. All right, so this isn't really all that subtle. So hands all up on the titties, her hand all up on his dick and balls. There's one, now we get the other one. Okay. Now, I think the only reason why they even released this video is because she was acting early on like, I didn't even do anything wrong. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. And they're like, oh, really? And so you got, the theater released this video.
So a new video showing U.S. Representative Lauren Boebert getting escorted out of a Broadway touring show, the show Beetlejuice. So you can see her right there, she and a man who's with her. This was released by the Denver Arts and Venues, shows Boebert and another person being let out of the venue by the staff. Audience members complained that she and the man were vaping, which is not allowed, and also causing a disturbance. So the theater didn't identify the Congresswoman, but she was basically identified by her campaign manager, says, yes, that was her.
So then she had an explanation, which we're going to show you right now.
I was a little too eccentric. I'm very known for having a animated personality, maybe overtly animated personality. I was laughing, I was singing, having a fantastic time, was told to kind of settle it down a little bit, which I did, but then my next slip up was taking a picture.
You're in Denver, Lauren. It's very liberal. The people that complained to the ushers that you were being noisy could have recognized you and been like, oh, that's that MAGA girl. Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. A pregnant woman asked her to stop vaping in the theater. You're not supposed to be doing that. And then she denied that any of that actually happened.
The vaping was the least of it. He was groping her breasts.
Okay.
And then she was grabbing his crotch. Okay. At the children's play of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Lauren Boebert, No, honey, you weren't eccentric. You were X-rated. And this was not a showing.
You lied. You were lying.
Yeah,
you said it didn't happen. That's the point.
This
you
was
lied.
not a performance of 50 Shades of Grey. It was a performance of Beetlejuice. But listen, a lot of kids.
We certainly shouldn't be pushing this grooming agenda in our schools. Children should
So you
not
think
be taught
people are
about
being
sex.
groomed to be transgender? Was that your school
I think they're being
experience?
sexualized. I think they're being sexualized.
They have radical gender ideology and even drag shows to impressionable young children. I urge my colleagues to pass my amendment to protect our military children from obscene content they should not be exposed to.
Boy, the Republican Party is a fraud. The hypocrisy of what goes on. What are our opinions on Lauren Boebert?
First and foremost, I don't get it. I mean, I know to each their own, but that face don't make me want to fill up any chest, bro. I'm good. I'm being real. I don't see the attraction. I mean, the hair is kind of fire, but that's about it. I mean, the glasses are kind of cool, but nah, I'm good. Secondly, it's a kids showing of Beetlejuice. There is nothing in Beetlejuice, the musical, that gets your rocks off, like at all. Nothing.
Beetlejuice.
Okay, yo, man, and I'm a freak. People who know me know I'm a freak. If there was something to get off on Beetlejuice, I'd have found it. I've seen the movie a bunch of times. I know that little part when they jump in the line, Rock Gibbon. That little part was kind of sexy when she's on the stairs, but that's about it. There's nothing in Beetlejuice that's sexy at all. And to Trevor, I know he was a POW. I was still making fun of him. I make fun of people. That's what I do. People make fun of me back. If I said it to his face, I think he would have laughed and then called me a fat bastard. And guess what? We'd have had a drink after that. Moving along. So, and nail it. Palin was horrible human being. Anyway, I'm not even gonna blame her because her hypocrisy is something I expect. What I think the problem is that her voters who act as if the things she says are so important to them and the way she lives her life is so important. They're going to look right past this like it was nothing and go right back to talking that moral majority bullcrap.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I hate the Republican Party, because even Democrats, when they mess up, they go, let me go ahead and get up out of here real quick. I should have sent that girl a picture of my of me in the boxers. I was tripping.
Weeder.
You know what I'm saying? I had just got these brand new Fruit of the Looms. I was looking good in them. You know what I'm saying? They know to leave. Republicans do it. Nah, I'm gonna ride this out, man. I ain't worried about, because they know their constituents don't care. All they care about is white winning. Or if you're gonna be black, you better not seem like it. That's it. You're gonna be Spanish, you better act white as hell. Anyway, this is what I'm saying. It don't matter to them. They don't care about all they care about is the money stays going in the right direction, away from the darkies, and we keep the police putting the darkies in their place. You do that, Trump said it himself. I could shoot somebody in the middle of the street and I wouldn't lose a point.
Yep.
It is what it is. On you, sir. But no, on the real, she is not attractive, like at all.
Before Ricardo goes, I just want to say that so when you look at the series of events, you see first she was kicked out, and then she sent a Twitter. I'm not calling it X. She sent a tweet out, and she was just trying to make light of it, like it was not a big deal. And then she tried to say that none of that ever happened. None of the misconduct happened. So then the theater people are like, well, really? Let's put this video out. They put the video out. Now she's embarrassed. Now she's running around trying to figure out what was my response. So then she goes on OAN, which is a Republican network that nobody watches, and she goes on there and she starts to spin the scenario. The host even tries to nudge her in that direction by saying, well, you know, Denver is a very liberal, a liberal area, and they're just trying to make you look bad and blah, blah, blah. And that was not the case at all. And
Is Denver liberal?
No, it's not.
I'm about to say that ain't nothing but ski country. That's a whole bunch of crackers.
They did pass marijuana quick as hell, though.
Because white people smoke more than black people.
I understand that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ricardo.
No, I was gonna say, you gotta love the strong Republican values here that we're seeing from Miss Miss Boebert, or is that how you say her name? Boebert.
Yeah, Boebert. Yep.
At this point, Boebert. It's amazing the kind of conduct that that she presented when she was at Beetlejuice, of all things, a musical for Beetlejuice. I mean, again, you could say Beetlejuice 3 times. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. If I remember it from when I was a kid. What gets you aroused with Beetlejuice is beyond me, but I mean, it's a freak show. It's a wacky show. It's theatrical theater at this point. Like, what are you really doing? Like, really, this is what we're doing? And then you come out and then you spew your diatribe of nonsense, and then you blame. You want to blame the liberals for the smoke going on when you were clearly vaping. I mean, the video couldn't prove itself more obvious. But then I'm sure the alternative facts are going to come out at some point. Remember, I couldn't get enough of that during the Trump administration. The alternative facts.
They had to make up new lingos for the Trump run.
It's like, what kind of time warp? What's that show that Trevor loved again? That's what do you call it again? Man, it slipped my mind. But it's
How to Grease Your Beard on Thursday.
Coming for you, but it's just hilarious, and like Mike always say, hilarious at this point. It is ridiculous at this point. Like, this is what we're doing, and I'm sure she's really embarrassed. But I would be embarrassed for her as well, because you could have done this at home. Better yet, you could have done this in the bathroom. Why are you doing this in front of everybody for you to see and view? And did you not know there's cameras inside the goddamn theater at this point? Like, you really did all of that to prove what? Like, that adults can be freaky. Oh, no, I take that back. That the Republicans are freaky like the rest of us Gentiles. Like, we have no morals. We're despicable. But yet it proves our point that you're basically just as hypocritical like everybody else. You're doing the same freaky nasty things that everybody's doing, but you have strong biblical backing, and I'll just leave it at that. I mean, how much more wholesome can we get?
I would like to state, I'm sorry, I thought you were done. My bad. I would like to state that I have absolutely no problem with the titty grabbing and the crotch grabbing. I am a pervert, freaky dude. I have done stuff in theaters and done stuff on camera in theaters and knew I was recording and did not care. My problem is, when Pee Wee Herman got caught doing this little freaky deaky, all the Republicans jumped up and was like, I would never. But then they go home and they have a belt around their neck tied to the doorknob, and they trying to get some freaky neaky nut off. That's my problem. If she would have came out and said, well, hey, I was watching Beetlejuice, and when his head got small, it reminded me of his knob, and I wanted to touch it, and he wanted to touch my boobie, and that's when it happened. And this thing I'm smoking got weed in it, and the weed make me horny. So you're my husband. I'm gonna do what I do. If she'd have said that, I'd have said, Heifer, you might have had my vote. You were hella close.
So,
I like real.
So it's safe to say that Mike fully endorses those actions.
Yes. Especially if you're married. If you're married and you ain't doing nothing freaky like that, your shit ain't gonna last long.
Facts.
When I was married, I was in the parking lot beating. My bad.
No. So I want to point out something with Lauren Boebert. So she's been one of the more outrageous kind of sideshows in the Congress right now. Her and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They even had a few close blows and yelling, shouting. They call each other bitch and all this other stuff. Very unprofessional. To think that this is going on in Congress is ridiculous.
Hey,
But
those close blows, huh?
right?
I bet he had a close blow when he got home.
The difference though with Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is in a highly gerrymandered district. So she can just go to sleep while the voting is happening, and she will retain her office. It's really not a contest because they drew the map in a way that it's Republican friendly, and that's another show that we got to get into, gerrymandering, because that's a dirty ass game.
Gerrymandering, redlining are the two most
Right.
detrimental.
As far as Boebert. The election of 2022, she barely got away with her tail between her legs. She won her election barely by like 500 plus votes.
And I
bet it was that close. So anyway, so that's our lame duck, Boebert. She'll be the week number 4. And we'll see more ducks, and the Quack Pack will continue to build and build and build.
Keep on quacking.
That's that's right. So right now we're going to get into the State of the Union. We'll be right back after a quick intro, and then we'll look at the video. The State of the Union this week is focusing on the auto workers' strike.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, the head of the United Auto Workers tells CBS News that the historic strike could soon spread to other plants. Right now, thousands are on the picket lines at 3 factories in Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio. That could slam the brakes on the economy. The Labor Department reports the U.S. lost more than 4 million days of work due to strikes and lockouts last month. It is the highest level in more than 20 years. CBS's Chris Van Cleve leads us off tonight from Wayne, Michigan. Good evening, Chris.
The UAW confirms a meeting with General Motors today and called a negotiating session with Ford Saturday reasonably productive. But Eureka, no deal yet, which means these workers remain on strike.
UAW in the house right now?
Yeah. Rallying the troops on day 3 of the United Auto Workers strike against Detroit's Big 3 car makers.
So we just want to get what's owed to us.
Negotiations resumed Saturday, yielding some progress, but so far no deal to get any of the nearly 13,000 striking workers off the picket line and back on the production line. UAW President Shawn Fain on Face the Nation.
These companies have made $250 billion in the last 10 years, $21 billion in the last 6 months alone. And our workers' wages and conditions have went backwards.
The union is currently seeking at least a 36% raise, cost of living and job protections, as well as an unwinding of concessions made during the Great Recession back in 2007. Automaker offers center around a raise of about 20%. GM CEO Mary Barra Friday.
How does this end? Problem solving and getting what is the right deal for our employees that recognizes their hard work. And we want to make sure we have job security by having great products people want to buy over the next handful of years.
Friday at midnight, workers at plants belonging to Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler parent Stellantis in Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio walked off the job when the union contract expired.
If we don't get better offers and we don't get down and take care of the members' needs, then we're going to amp this thing up even more.
Maria Nudelai worries that could cause her Motor City Bar and Grill to sputter. The Stellantis plant across the street drives nearly 80% of her business.
It's very scary. You know, you got bills, you got payments, you got mortgages to pay, kids to feed.
Citing the ripple effect of the strike, Ford says it has had to temporarily lay off about 600 workers at this plant. And Eureka General Motors says it expects to have to idle a plant in Kansas that employs more than 2,000 people as soon as Monday.
That parking lot is normally full Monday through Friday. Now it's empty due to the fact that we are on strike. We are fighting for what we deserve.
You can't expect these workers to make cars they can't afford to buy. This is just not about the UAW. This is about all active employees across the United States, because what happens here will happen everywhere.
But it's been a long time coming. It's history in the making.
No deal, no wheels.
For the first time in history, the United Auto Workers Union is striking against all big three automakers at once.
About 12,700 workers committed to a work stoppage at 3 locations.
The UAW is demanding pay raises of more than 40% for its members to match the pay raises of CEOs of the companies.
The strike became official overnight when that midnight deadline hit without a deal.
All of you know that there was once a time when a union job in the automobile industry was the gold standard for the working class in America. Well, we are determined to bring those days back again.
What do we want? When do we want it? And if we don't get it?
Peers put one man higher than another, and it shouldn't be that way, because you got two people that do the same job at the same time. Tier 1 gets to enjoy his family working 40 hours a week. The Tier 2 guy has to work 60 to 70 hours a week just to make the same amount of pay that you're close to the Tier 1 guy. He goes home at night, he can't even hold his baby no more because he can barely hold his hands. Spends time soaking in hot baths because he can barely move.
The big three, they have all them CEOs, they have no idea what it feels like to be able to wake up in pain almost every day, because we work those 6 to 7 days out the week and we have no time to rest our bodies. They don't understand that, and they don't get what it's like trying to figure out if you're going to be able to eat or put food on your family's table the next day. They don't get that at all.
If we signed up for the UAW's request, instead of making money and distributing $75,000 in profit sharing in the last 10 years, we would have lost $15 billion and gone bankrupt by now.
You've seen a 34% pay increase in your salary. You make almost $30 million. Why should your workers not get the same type of pay increases that you're getting? We think we have a very competitive offer on the table, and that's why we want to get back there and get this done.
Last year, these companies spent $9 billion not to improve the lives of their workers, but to pay for stock buybacks and dividends to make their wealthy stockholders even richer. Meanwhile, the average wage for American auto workers has decreased by 30% after adjusting for inflation. Do you want to know why you're out on strike right now? That's the reason.
Without our labor, this country couldn't function. They say that we're asking for too much, but really it's the CEOs and the corporate leaders that are having too much. There's no reason that they should be making, 300-400 times more than what I make or what my union brothers and sisters make. Is your time really worth 300 or 400 times more? Do you really work 300 or 400 times harder than we do? No, you don't.
Every human being wants to provide a better life for their family. That's what we work for. That's what we go to work every day for. So a 40% raise, that would finally make us feel like what we're doing is actually respected.
Since 1948, COLA, the cost of living adjustment, has been part of every single UAW contract until 2009. You all took the biggest hit. Plant closures destroyed communities. You guys got rid of coal. You did everything you were supposed to do so you can keep them afloat. And now that you're all struggling, our retirees are struggling, now they want to turn their backs to you while they give themselves 300 to 4 times more in pay.
All right.
Man.
Oh, I still got Boba up. Hold on. All right. So what do we think about that as far as the striking and a lot of what we've seen in that last piece?
Yo, there was a conversation I was having with the gentleman who's usually on this show. And we were talking about strikes and unions and all that. And I told them that the reason it will never work again is because every single business that is not a small business, every single large business in this country has robots on standby. They can't wait for some stuff to happen. They look at all the businesses that used to be open 24 hours, and after COVID, oh, we just can't do it. We just can't. Why? Because we could take that money we were paying those late night bums and pocket it. We're not opening back up after midnight. You think Walmart can't afford to have people working at 4 a.m? Of course they can. They're not doing it. They're gonna take that money and pocket it. They don't have to do it anymore. You think McDonald's can't afford to stay open 24 hours a day like they used to? They ain't doing that. They're not even having people open for breakfast. Have you seen those restaurants now where it's like 2 people running the whole store? And they have
Yeah,
to
that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, they got to close the drive-through window, and they got to meet you on the other side, and the other person's cooking, the other person's taking the money, and people are getting mad at them. It's hilarious. I keep telling you, they will. If you think you want to see how this works, let UAW stay out of work for too long. Watch right now. All those corporations are building something over in Thailand, or building something over in Korea, or building a plant over in one of them other countries, and watch as all of your cars are going to be made in Thailand. All your cars will have them little stamps on them in the back. I promise you, they do not care about you. And you heard the woman say it. When we needed to help you, we stood there and we helped you. Now that you need to help us back, they laugh in your face because you were stupid. When you had them down, you should have stepped on their throat, but you didn't. You wanted to go along to get along. That's what happens. That's what happens. You can't. Corporations are people, so says the country, and people suck, and they will screw you over. I owe you money? What money? What are you talking about? I owe you $20. Hey man, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Go get out my house. That's what they're doing, and that's what they'll always do. They don't care. They don't have to care because they're getting the money.
Yeah, the thing that one moment, Ricardo, I just want to say this little piece. So the thing about it is, yes, these companies will and can do getting automation, machines, all these, crazy things. But this is why you need citizens engaged in understanding what is really going on. You can't have corporations telling you how to live. I keep hearing Republicans talk about government this, government that. Oh, the worst thing that you could have happen is someone from the government knocking on the door saying, I'm here to help you. That's what Ronald Reagan always said. But the government is, again, it's a tool. And who's in there is how good or bad it is. Government's supposed to set the rules in the economy that we are supposed to follow. When you have corporations that are too powerful, that don't have to answer for nothing, there's major issues that will come as a result. So if you don't feel it now, guarantee you, you're going to feel it down the road. And the problem with that mentality is that when down the road comes, it's too late. It's too late. So as a smart citizen that's following what the hell is going on in this country, you could then say, okay, I don't want to do business with that company. This is what MD talks about, right? The capitalism mentality, right? They could do whatever the hell they want. They could spend millions of dollars into all these machineries. But that doesn't mean us as the public need to go and buy from them. And immediately they will pay the price. But we don't think that way. We don't use our dollars as our voice. We don't do that, and we need to be doing that. So if you're not on the up and up and you're not doing what's right by the community and what's right by the country, why are we supporting companies like that? So go ahead, Ricardo.
Yeah, so this proves our point that unions are still effectively powerful in this country. I don't think Reagan really won that battle as much as he thought he would have won. When I think the last major effective union that I remember well was in the aviation field, if I'm not mistaken. Was it air traffic controllers or something like that? But I'm perturbed as for why this whole union picketing is only for 5 years, and why not do it for a decade? Like, you're gonna do the same thing again in 5 years after that? Like, it's kind of confusing, the whole process that they go through to just prove a point, but then it's kind of like a waste of added time. But like MD had referred to, UAW is very powerful. They're very polarizing. I don't know if people really have read up on them in terms of how really sneaky, and they do a lot of stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch. I think I would get into it if I could, but there's a lot of things that I don't like about them. But with that being said, I'm always for the workers' side. I just, again, question the 5 years. If you're really gonna pick it, go harder, just go home. Like, 5 years is not really idealistically good enough to really move the mantle when it comes to the conglomerates and the corporations at this point in the automobile industry. So why not force it to 10 years? I'm still kind of confused with that. But with that being stated, yeah, I agree with you as well, Venkat, where something's gonna have to give at this point. Like, the corporations just keep getting more and more powerful. Again, I bring this point back. I'm not sure if I referred to it on the show, but had it not been for what was the guy at Ford? Was it Ford? Yeah, Ford was the one that actually introduced the 8 hours a day rule. Before Ford actually introduced that, we used to sleep for 10 hours. Now imagine that. Think about that thought process. Had it not been for him coming in and saying, hey, we could maximize 8 hours per day, we wouldn't have that at this point. We would have had 10 hours. So, again, corporations and corporate heads will always win the battle unless somebody steps in and interjects, and even then they're too terrified to do it. So here we are.
I would like to apologize to Trevor, but I have seen Nail and Palin, but there's only like 4 white porno stars that I actually like when it comes to women. So yeah, my bad. There's only 4 like white girls. I'll be like, damn. Other than that, man, I'm good.
Another thing about that video. So there was a moment where one of the executives, a female executive, I think she was the CEO of one of the companies, one of the big 3 car makers. The interviewer asked her point blank, "You're making X amount of millions a year, and you're having all this profit, but yet the workers are working hard and they're not getting. They actually got decreased in pay in the last several years. Why is this happening?" She just went right past that question and just said a kumbaya type moment type thing. Well, we just need to all work together and blah blah blah. And she completely ignored that factor. And it's just absolutely ridiculous to get paid $300 to $400 more than the lowest worker in your
not
company.
$300, 300 times.
Times. I'm sorry. What did I said dollars? I'm sorry. Yeah, times. To get paid that much more is just egregious. And Trevor asked me, well, what is the amount that you would be comfortable with? Well, I mean, it's kind of Looney Tunes to even just fathom that we're in a moment when it is up to 400 plus times. I mean, it's just crazy. Yes, if you are the person that cultivated the company, you took the risks, you paid the cost, you paid the money, you designed the way that you do the business, you put in a lot. Yes, you should get more, but you shouldn't get like 400 freaking times more than the lowest pay person on your payroll. That's just obscene.
Hey man, you know the white supremacy tenet. There is no such thing as enough. It doesn't. If you made 100 million, You can make 200 million next year. It is never enough. And then they wonder why the stuff crumbles like it does. And they wonder why empires crumble, because they keep hoarding the money at the top and laughing at the peasants at the bottom. And I wish, like, I know it's not, but I wish this was the beginning of something. I wish this was the beginning to set something off, but it won't be. It won't be, because what I say about Americans, they're so happy to be middle management, they'll take it. They laid off people, and people will jump right in their place. Oh, sure, I'll make that car for 50% of what you were paying that guy. Woo! For about 2 months until I get arthritis, and then I gotta quit. But at least I got 2 checks. That's all this country. It's gonna. I can't wait for it to burn down. I'm gonna be here to watch it.
So we got MD20 on the panel. What's up, MD?
Yeah, peace. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I had to hop on real quick. Y'all was talking about a pertinent issue, and I wanted to come on and say my piece about it. Y'all already know which side of the road I'm steering toward.
Individualism.
There you go. So I'll say this again to Ricardo's point. We all know what these unions are set up, especially the big unions. We all know what they set up for. They set up to be quasi lobbyist groups for these different business / political entities. That's what they for. That's what they for, right? When we talk about the UAW is set up to be I guess you could say a strong line or a buffer for a quasi liberal lobbyist group. That's what they for. The workers not going to benefit from this strike at all. I don't give a damn if they come to a compromise or not. They're not going to benefit. Yeah, just look it up right now. All 3 of y'all live in Florida. Look up the average salary for an assembly worker in Florida. Just look it up.
A car assembly worker?
Yeah, look it up.
Do they have assembly workers in Florida?
That I don't know. So maybe that ain't a good idea. They may not have. You know what I'm saying? But just average, you're looking at maybe around mid-30s, low 40s, and that's a high end. Assembly. Go.
But MD. So if you're an individual and you're going up against a big time conglomerate, big business, you have no shot at making any type of change without rallying together, joining as one to be able to make a bigger impact to force change. Now, the change that they're seeking would be substantial. It would be. They're talking about paid time off. They're talking about an increase of, I think, 43% increase in pay. They're talking about reduced hours. They're getting a lot out of this. There's a whole litany of things that they're trying to achieve. Remember, in 2009, when the Great Recession happened, they were told, hey, you're gonna have to cut back on a few benefits, and we're gonna have to hold back a little bit because the industry's struggling, right? That's when the whole auto industry was on the verge of being evaporated in the United States, at least. And Obama did his thing, and it saved it. But what I'm saying is that they did that, but they never set they never set their benefits back and progress from there.
Venkat, what's the purpose of an assembly line worker as a whole? To any industry, car, it don't matter. Metal, it don't matter. Right. What's the purpose? What's the purpose of an assembly line worker? It's production, correct?
Right.
So, why in the hell? Now, let's look at it as a business owner. My bad, the dog's barking. I'm outside. Why in the hell would I cut production, talking about less hours, on something that's essential for production? It don't make no sense. So guess what? I'm gonna put Johnny 5 in your place, and we're gonna do it. And we're gonna do it like that.
I told you.
Short circuit reference.
Hey, Johnny 5 alive. First off, The average automotive production worker is 31,538.
Even lower than I said.
Yeah, that's pretty damn low, man. That's
I
really low.
believe this wholeheartedly. If they would have continued to raise the salary to meet the inflation of America, at least to a certain percentage, they would not be in the position they are now. The problem is all they care about is profits and their shareholders' feelings. That's pretty much it.
But
And
what about supply and demand?
there's, dude.
Ricardo.
Oh, no. Let me answer. I run from no question, sir. That's why you have research and development. That's why you have people that tell you, okay, it's not good for us to overmake these types of vehicles. Let's scale this back. If there's less on the market, it might do a tick up. If it doesn't tick up, we have less to sell, which means we're putting less money into it. It's called future sight. The problem is they were living so fat off the teat of the Americans for the whole time they've been in existence, they could never see past their nose. That's who they are. These people, the people that never thought, we had a recession, people stopped buying SUVs. Okay, things are starting to get bad again. Maybe we should sell less SUVs? No, we're going to make brand new SUVs. And we're going to make SUVs that are half run on electricity now. Yeah. No. People can't buy bread. They're not going to buy your SUV. Scale down. That's what the Asian companies are doing. But, so you're telling me
scale down mean what? So you rather take the layoffs than the reduction in pay?
It's not the layoffs. I'm saying if they would have done right by their workers from jump, or at least in the modern era, because they were screwing them over crazy back in the day. But in the modern era, since the 80s, if they had done right by their workers, they would be able to ask them anything. Look at what they asked them after they were screwing them off and the workers did. They wouldn't be striking if you treated them. If they were, dude, they make hand over fist. Those three companies have $1 trillion in profit over the last 10 years. $1 trillion. Okay? Are you telling me they couldn't have put that into their people? Remember, we had this discussion last time we were talking about fast food. If they would have thought, let me keep my base. This is what, you said it yourself, production is the most important thing because we are producing. If they kept, even if you can't jack the salary up, hey, you've been here for how many years? I'm gonna hit you with this 2-year bonus. I appreciate you. Hey, I'm gonna do it just so if lean times come, hey, there's not gonna be a bonus because of this. Let's have a meeting. This is a progression of the sales that have fallen this much percent. That's why you guys didn't get it. If we can get this back up to this percent, we'll go right back into them. Tell your people the freaking truth. I bet money, they will be more willing to work with you. But they don't care because in their minds, you guys do what we need you to do until 2025. By 2025, we'll have the kinks worked out of this AI thing. We'll have machines building this for you and we won't care about you. That's what they're thinking. They're just mad it happened 2 years early. And I'm
Mike, you killed yourself. You know, can you hear me?
I love to hear how I kill myself.
Because you gave the reference talking about the bonuses, right?
Okay.
It don't work like that in a union structure. You know that, right?
The union is not part of the business. The union is its own thing. I don't give a damn what the union does. I'm telling you what I'm telling the people that work.
But that's what we're realistically dealing with, though, Mike. You can't take that away.
Of course I can.
Don't be no individualist now. You can't do that.
Hilarious.
Wait, MD. So what are you saying that the union should not make any kind of money to help fund the work that they're doing that the workers by themselves wouldn't be able to do? I am not opposed to the union getting money. That's what's supposed to happen. As long as they're doing their work, and they're doing their work. This is the first time in American history that we're dealing with this specific situation. So they're doing a lot of moving and shaking, and it's being noticed. So an individual can't do that. There's no way in the world any individual could do this.
I'll do you one
Wow.
better. Do you know what destroys unions' power? A business doing right by their employees. There is no person in the world that was ever getting a salary that they were happy with that was like, man,
Right.
I got to join the union.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's not
And
that's
why is it that the union for the police is never talked about the same way the unions of other industries are?
Because they got the
For some
best
reason,
lobby in the world.
well, there you go. And for some reason, they just seem to be untouchable, and
Yep.
that union is good. But like all the other unions is the devil, and I never understood that. I
Because
never
the
understood
police
that.
union is linked with white supremacy. You know I'm
again.
right.
The FDA says a popular ingredient in many over-the-counter medicines for colds and allergies.
Oops, my bad. That was my mistake.
Oh, okay.
My
Yeah, I
fault.
say the hell.
My
Shut
toe
up.
hit the screen.
Oh damn. He said his toe.
My toe hit the screen.
Oh, you got your feet kicked up. You
Well, if you
relaxing.
don't put
Okay.
your socks on, if I gotta wear shirts, you put on socks.
But yeah, I say the hell with all unions. I don't care about any union because unions are meant to be a buffer between the average worker that works for that industry and a political ideology. I say the hell with all of them. But what I'm saying is the things that you're notating that's supposed to be a plus for the worker is a hindrance based on their reaction or their interaction with the union. That's what I'm saying. What the situation Mike put into play cannot exist in a union. There is no individual bonuses or merit retention. Ain't none of that.
But I feel,
And
but I
we
feel it's, but I feel like it's a cop out as well because I feel like they're gonna get a subsidy at some point. They're gonna always feel like they're
there
gonna
you
get.
go. There you go. You hit the nail on the head.
We're too big to fail. We can't afford to let the other the other countries make us look like we're idiots at this point. Like look at BMW, look at Daimler Chrysler. Like they're gonna come up with some way, and I feel like that's the crutch. They always seem to know. Hey, if the splits hit the wire, because I can't say that word because I want to pay Trevor. If the splits hits the wire, we know the government's gonna come bail us out, or they're gonna come up with something. So it's always like something is gonna have to give, and they know it's a crutch, and they will get away with it every single time. So I feel like that's what it is. But again, the question I have, and I still have it lingering: why 5 years? Why not extend it to a decade? Because 5 years is gonna come back and do the same thing again to argue a point. It's kind of redundant to me. Do a decade and then make them force their hands and at least make the conglomerates say, all right, you know what? We'll give them 10 years. But 5 years, it's kind of like a waste to me. You're picking in for just 5 years? That's stupid.
What I don't understand is why are anybody's pay or raise dictated on what a company says? Why isn't it that it's linked to the economy? So inflation went up, so that they know how to calculate, how much a person should get and what the dollar amount value is of the time. So they should be able to automatically have it tethered to the inflation in the economy, so that it's not something that needs to be voted on. It's not something that needs to be debated on. It's an automatic thing, because when left to their own devices, human beings are just going to try to screw over others so that they can be better. To make it right, take all the deliberation out of it and just link it to the economy. So when inflation goes up and when cost of living goes up, when cost of living goes down, it adjusts accordingly. That would be better.
I'm with that. I was using bonuses so you could adjust on the lower end, but if it was linked to inflation, that'd be right. And if all these things existed, the union would have never taken hold. It would have never. The union exists because people who make the rich are pricks.
Right. If I'm paying the union and they get me more money overall per year, I'd rather have that than this perceived bonus that I'm going to get, because they make up worlds of excuses on why the bonus is lower or that you didn't get any this year. They always have an excuse. Never mind the CEOs that always get paid out whether they're doing a bad job or not. They keep failing to the top.
Well, see, the thing I was trying to say, well, I think I said it, but maybe you guys didn't feel it. I was trying to say that they do good business with them, that if they have a track record of good business, you won't think you're going to be screwed over in a bonus situation. You won't be thinking that because they wouldn't have screwed you over for so long, you'd be cool with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you raise salaries and then there's a downturn in the economy, now the business is losing money. But if you're doing
and
bonuses,
it's going to be mass layoffs.
Exactly. But if you're doing bonuses, then it moves with the. So we're saying the same thing with you. The only difference is for a salary to change, that's paperwork. For a bonus to change, I can just show you. I can be like, hey, here's the spreadsheet. Look at the pie graph. Somebody took a bite out of it. We ain't getting the bonuses this year.
And again,
go ahead. Go ahead. MD.
No. Let Mike finish up. I thought he was done.
We're so nice and cordial. What the hell's wrong with y'all? Y'all get on my nerves. Be mean.
This is the most dangerous panel in politics.
You feel me? That's right. Be like me. I was making fun of a man whose arms don't move. What's wrong with y'all? Gangsta up.
No, but I was gonna say again to Mike's point. Again, he brings up a great point.
Even though you said I was dead, but go ahead.
Yeah, you was there because, like I said, I didn't think you was thinking of it from a individual perspective. But I'll take it for what it's worth. But again, in the long run, yeah, you may have that cushion dealing with your union or your hall or whatever the situation may be. But again, this is a special relationship between the higher ups of the union and their political affiliates. That's all it is. When those subsidies come around, that's what they're looking for. And the subsidies make the conglomerates, the companies, the monopolies, more money. And they're able to cut costs. I've been part of a huge union, bro. I know how it works. You get laid off, you come back, you get laid off, because it's not based on what you're making per se. It's based on what the union can provide and what they can exchange toward these political affiliates. I'm telling you, that's how it works. That's how it works. You know what I mean? You might get a 30% raise, but it don't mean nothing if you're out of work for 40 days at the hall every day looking for you another job post. And a lot of these workers at the UAW go through that. So again, it's lose-lose, Venkat. Don't fall for the trick bag. Don't do it.
I hear you, MD.
Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like doing that.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the last video, the nightcap video, and this has to do with the pharmaceutical industry having ineffective drugs, and they've been making billions of dollars a year. Let's take a look at this report from CNN as we go into the last video, the nightcap video of the evening.
The FDA says a popular ingredient in many over-the-counter medicines for colds and allergies doesn't work, concluding in a panel this week that the main ingredient in those drugs is ineffective in tablet form. Phenylephrine is used in products like Benadryl Allergy Plus Congestion, Sudafed PE, and Vicks Sinex. According to the FDA, these products generated nearly $1.8 billion in sales last year alone. Dr. Jane Morgan, a cardiologist, joining me right now. Dr. Morgan, good to see you. So a lot of doctors have questioned the effectiveness of phenylephrine for a very long time.
That's
so
right.
How did it find its way in these products?
And so, that was approved back in 1972, where the criteria was a little less stringent. Yeah. But we started to have some pushback against it around 2006, 2007. And then 2016 really started generating data to refute the original claims in 1972. And so it's really come to this point here in 2023 where we're finally looking at that data and saying, you know what? It really doesn't work. It's not any better than placebo in the oral formulation.
The tablet.
The reason for that is if you take it by mouth in any form, your liver and gut metabolize it. In other words, degrade it to such a degree until there's not much active compound left. So you can
it can't
still
make
take
its
the
way
nasal.
up.
That's right.
Right.
You
Okay.
can still take the nasal spray, but you cannot take anything orally.
Okay. So do you see that drug even being reclassified as a result of this discovery or acknowledgement?
And so we will wait for the comment portion of the FDA and then their final ruling on whether or not they will actually ask companies to reformulate their products or whether it will be a total recall and say all of these have to be removed from the shelves. Remember, this is an entire industry. There are over 250 products over the counter that contain phenylephrine, so it's going to be very impactful. But we also have to have products available that are effective and actually do what we say they're going to do.
Well, I wonder how that will impact consumers. I mean, when you have a cold or you have symptoms related to a cold or flu or something to those degrees, you generally going to reach for some of these products. But now there may be some reticence about trusting any of them, even if they don't have this ingredient in them.
I have an opposing view. We should actually have more confidence in our system now because we have the ability to go back and say, you know what, we made a mistake. And you know what, things have changed in 50 years and we're going to acknowledge that science has advanced and that we have new information and are going to act on that information. If in fact you have a cold, you can ask for products that have pseudoephedrine in them. Those are over the counter but behind the counter. You have to ask the pharmacist for them. You don't need a prescription because they do have value in making street meth. Also products with guaifenesin in them. And so those are still ingredients that are very effective for people who have nasal congestion.
All right, so there is still some good stuff out there.
Yes.
You're saying. Okay.
All right. So this time we're gonna go to MD first. What's your thoughts on that video package there?
Yeah, man. I knew that Benadryl. All Benadryl do put you to sleep, man. It ain't no damn good, man. Yeah, man. Again, big pharma, man. We tout all these regulations and stuff they can't do and what they can do, and it goes to show you that a lot of the times when it comes to big pharma, the profit gain and this is me going away from what I usually do. Because I treat big pharma separate from everything else because that's something that's actually affecting you personally. You know what I'm saying? Big pharma should not be allowed to do a lot of the stuff that they do based on the well-being of the global masses in terms of how we look at certain drugs and ingredients and stuff like that. So again, I pretty much already knew that because, like I said, Benadryl ain't worth a damn. It don't do nothing to you but put you to sleep. You wake back up and you still stuff your nose and sinus all jacked up. So it is what it is.
All right, Ricardo. Ricardo here. Oh, I guess maybe he's off the stream. Okay.
His picture went out. I don't know exactly why. It may be something on his end.
Yeah, it could be. What are your thoughts, Mike?
That y'all in Fort Lauderdale need to get your Wi-Fi up.
Wait a minute, I'm not in Fort Lauderdale, sir.
Oh, I'm not talking to you. I can hear you clearly, sir.
Oh, okay.
I'm definitely not talking to you. You're doing a fantastic job. Hey man, I think Big Pharma is the second biggest con that's ever been run on this country after we all know white supremacy. Hey, just on like, have you ever gotten a itemized report of what you get from the hospital when you go to the hospital?
Sometimes.
Get that and see the $400 aspirin. Get that and see the $200 applesauce.
Yep.
Get that and see, and you know You know it's crooked when I can go online, get a median price for something they charge me for, go back to them, show them, and they go, oops, our bad, and take it off. That's how you know you a crook. When you like, hey, I'm gonna take this off, but don't tell nobody. Bro, they the crookedest of the crook. I thought the airline people who sell stuff at the airport were crooks. Man, Big Pharma is the worst. I hate all of them. That she says I say hate too much, but I mean it. I hate them all. Anybody, I believe it was our great comedic philosopher Chris Rock that said they're never gonna cure AIDS. They're just gonna get something to get you to the next step. And so one day, the best thing that might happen is one day you could be like, "Oh man, you didn't come to work yesterday." Yeah, man, my AIDS was acting up, but I took some Dimetap. I'll be all right. Like that's the best we have. That's the best it'll ever be, because they don't. Hey, the great Patrice O'Neal once said, "When you love money more than people, that's the only way you can you could be filthy rich and be okay with it. You have to be like, man, to hell with people. I need money. What about my grandmother? She's dying. Bump your grandma. I need money." That's how you have to be. And
Yep.
I could never be that way, because I promise you, every time I dream about being rich, there's a point that I get to where I'm just going to colleges, sitting on a bench, trying to have conversations with people, and whoever seemed cool, I'm paying off their student loans. Like that's just what I'm doing on a Thursday.
Master class on steroids.
You feel, bro? They are the most corrupt, horrific, disgusting. Will do anything. Well, and guess what? Right in bed with the government. Right
Yep.
in bed with the FDA. Right in bed with white supremacy. Right in bed. And I ain't trust them since Tuskegee. To hell with all of them. Go ahead, Cardo. My bad.
No, you're good. Not even then. Remember they did that whole syphilis thing with that was it Tuskegee? Was it that group? It
That was
was.
Tuskegee Airmen. Yep. I don't trust them.
Ever since then, I think even now
Not
that
Airmen. My bad.
yeah, I know what you're talking about though. But it's like it hits close to home, because in our community we get terrified even going to the hospital, because you're just in the back of your head what our predecessors went through. So you're like, nah. But you're right. The pharmaceutical companies are just beyond crooked at this point. I don't even know why it's expensive to get a pill here compared to like a country in Canada, which is up north. And then you find out why a lot of people decide to go straight up north to get like most of their pharmaceutical things, because it's way more cost effective. That shouldn't be the case here. Why is it the world's most powerful freestanding country? Medically, we're being charged far more in terms of expense for one pill, like to cure something that's like dire, that's like crazy. And no one seems to have the balls to then bring it to the politicians and say, if you're able to get free healthcare, being in the Senate or the House, why is it that, it's not distributed fairly to the people that are voting for you, the people? It's kind of crazy, but then I doubt anything's going to change. I mean, we had the options multiple times and nothing came about from it. So here we are. Are we surprised the least bit by this? Nope, not one bit. But can something be done? Absolutely. Will anything be done? I doubt it. Highly doubt it.
Just say you join the team me. It's all right.
Yeah, the feeling.
Come on the squad. Come on the squad, man. The world's gonna burn. We're gonna burn and we're gonna sit back and laugh.
My thing with this whole thing is that in this economy, in this free open market economy, they're able to sell products that are less than and make billions of dollars. I mean, you can sell whatever, but it should at least, to a bare minimum, it should work. It should be viable. I shouldn't have to pay extra just for it to do the most basic things. I don't like that. That thought that the study that she talked about I think they said they started it in like 06, 2006. And then by 2016, 16-ish, is when they got the results and they got the understanding that this is not effective. So, I guess we're just now hearing about it for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it's just problematic that, and it's out. You could go down the street right now, go to Walgreens, go to CVS, wherever, and those products are right there on the shelf. After we know that it's in effect, they should immediately take that off the shelf, and it'd be interesting to see what is the response. Are they going to replace the ingredients? Are they going to recall? I don't know what are they going to do at this point.
They're gonna do nothing because it won't unless it costs them a dime. They won't do anything because F America. That's why. They don't have to do anything.
I just don't like that open Wild West thing of like, we could just sell anything and it doesn't even have to work. We just have to have it in like Beats. Beats is a perfect example, right? Dr. Dre's Beats. Those headphones are not the greatest. It's packaged very well and it's promoted very well.
They got the best ads.
Exactly, which has nothing to do with when you sit down and you listen.
But Venkat, what's my third favorite thing to say?
That actually costs less than Beats.
What's my third favorite thing to say? Number one, fourth. Number one is white supremacy. Number two is thoughts. Number three, Americans are stupid.
Yeah.
People are stupid.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. The
Beats
Beats
have
have a shiny box and Nicki Minaj's boo prints on them. I want them.
Well, they're buying McDonald's meals with celebrities on it. It's the same goddamn meal that's been there all this time.
Sir, I said that 2 weeks ago. Don't try to jump and take my beautiful lines.
Sir, I got to confiscate your idea, sir. Thank you.
All right, I expect a works cited page in the group text.
Oh man. Okay, so I wanted to ask MD. I don't know, MD, if you caught the opening of the show, the lead story about the cops, and in particular that girl that got killed. If you did hear that, what are your thoughts on that, MD?
No, I didn't get to hear it. I came in a little bit after when you start talking about the unions and stuff.
You're gonna be disgusted, MD.
Yeah. Whenever you get a chance, look at that first story. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it back.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
All right. So at this point, we're about to wrap it up. Any parting words? We'll start with Mike.
Okay. Maybe y'all didn't hear me last time, but my homeboy from high school opened up a store in Pembroke Pines.
Right.
9614 Pines Boulevard, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33024, the jerk spot. My dog Sean from high school, one of the most wonderful human beings in the world. When I was down and out and I did not have a mango to my name, this man called me and told me to come through. When I showed up at his house, he had a bag of mangoes for me, and all he wanted was some conversation. Bro, if he was not a man, I would have hubbied him. I'm letting you that y'all know that's the weight of my heart. That man brought bags of mangoes for your boy. So I beg you all, just on the strength of hearing my voice. Plus, I know the man can cook. He is a chef and fantastic at it. Just on the strength of me, please go check it out. The Jerk Stop. I'm trying my best to make it down there this week. Everybody know, I lost my job or whatever, but I got a new one and I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to leave early on Thursday, drive down to Fort Lauderdale, get some escovitch fishing, drive back up eating it and talking hella trash to him. If you're in Fort Lauderdale, please make your way over there. Once again, that is 9614 Pines Boulevard, Pembroke Pines, 33024. Much love to all of you. Venkat, take us out, big dog. Oh, Cardi's back. Hello?
Yeah, I got disconnected.
Yeah,
Oh, no
I
problem.
think we all did. I don't know
I,
what I got booted.
hey, I was
Yeah,
talking.
it's
I was talking.
my fault. It's my fault. I was trying to get Mike's there was that ad on Facebook that he did. I was trying to get that
Ah,
for
see, when Venkat does it, you know there's some good behind it.
him.
You know what I'm saying? That's good hearted, right? If you open a store, I'll do the same for you, bro.
Ricardo, any last words? Any overall thoughts on any of the topics tonight?
Nah, just still fairly disgusted with that one officer that made that comment. I mean, your moral compass should have, made you not see what you said. But again, we're not the least bit surprised. I mean, these Blue Lives Matter people, take precedence whenever they feel threatened. Like something's got to give. Like they're gonna take away their money or pension or whatnot. So I mean, that's the only thing. It's like very perturbing. Did he do anything wrong? Like in terms of hitting the girl herself? No, he didn't. But it's just your thought process was very vile and despicable and disgusting. And we expect better of you. If you're going to be serving and protecting, at least use your due diligence and be respectful to, the people that you kill accidentally. That's all I got to say. And come from
Allegedly, accidentally.
Right.
like quote unquote. But y'all could do better. Law enforcement. I'm not saying all law enforcement people are bad. There are a few that are good, but the bad apples spoil it for the rest of the bunch. So once you put a bad apple with the rest of the good apples, eventually they start turning acrid. So, but other than that, yeah, we'll support Mike's friend. Some jerk porky is never bad.
Okay.
And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Free MD20.
Let the
There
eagle
it is.
fly.
There it is. Hey, Venkat, I did catch a little bit of that because I think I commented at the time. I was talking about the body cam laws.
Yeah.
Again, man, I implore everybody to when it comes to police surveillance, read your local and state statutes and find out what's what. Fun fact: a lot of people don't know, and I can't speak for because every state is different, but in a lot of states, they're not obligated to turn on their body cam until an incident is instigated, so to speak. So just keep that in the back of your head when you deal with a lot of these police situations. Again, like I said in the comment, the people that's policing the police is us ultimately. You know what I'm saying? And now in 2023, we ain't got it's no excuse because we got a damn handheld surveillance device in our hand. You know what I mean?
Hey, they'll
So
ignore it.
yeah, I mean, but again, it's all about how much do you entrust the process of law. I get it. A lot of black folks don't.
Nope.
But it is what it is.
About as much as I believe the hospitals are really there to save our lives.
I got you. But yeah, that's all I got, man. Like I said, man, I'm home all week, man. I'm chilling like a villain. So I'm trying to catch all the shows I can, but that ain't my top notch priority at the time. But good show nonetheless.
Hey,
but I will be here. Yeah, no doubt. But I'm in the building for Wrestling with Reality. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a huge show. We're talking about The Rock tomorrow, 6:05. Trevor, MD, Mike, myself. Not Mike.
No, I
On
am a
Mike.
guest on that show. I am not a main member.
You are the main member.
No, sir, I am a guest.
No, you're not.
Yo, I am a guest, so if I don't show up, I don't feel bad. I am a guest.
Hey, if you're in the title, you're a main member.
Gosh dang it, this blackmail.
That's right.
Hey, real quick, Venkat. I made, and I always say I'm gonna do a video, and then I don't do it. Like me, shout out to Mike, man. I've been playing in Starfield, bro, and it's uncanny how, and like the political aspect on what the stuff I talk about and what's in that game. I gotta talk about it, man. Like the whole thing is political. The whole thing. What's
you
up?
Want to do that next week?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I got mine on in the living room right now, man. Hey, I'm trying to hurry up and get off, man, so I can get on.
Come on, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Starfield is a political game, bro. It's political. It's a political game.
So
What
again, I want
faction
to
you
put up.
chose?
I want to put up the jerk shop one more time. Anybody in the Pembroke Pines area, please check out the jerk shop. It's going to be on fleek.
You're on punishment. How dare you, sir?
Hey, Mike, what you asked me?
I said, what faction did you choose?
I chose SysDef, man. UC SysDef.
Respect. I ain't mad at you.
So yeah. So, you know, and it's crazy because UC, like I said, this game is so political. UC, I don't agree per se with UC because they, for the most part, on the outside, they like a collective government. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Whereas Freestar is individualistic.
That's why I
But
thought
hey,
you would have chose.
yeah, man, I ain't even went to the Rangers yet, man. I've been doing other stuff.
Hey, you should know who I chose.
What, Freestar Collect? Oh yeah, everybody. Yeah, okay.
Yep, because I'm gonna screw them all over royally.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. But yeah, it's a great. Venkat, you got an Xbox? Oh, you got PlayStation?
Yeah,
right?
I got Xbox, PlayStation, and the Switch.
Okay. Yeah.
Man,
You
if
need
you
to
don't get a PC and grow up.
Nope.
Well,
I
ain't
refuse.
got I ain't got no PC. Yeah, I ain't. That's too advanced for me. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna drop something in the group chat to let y'all know why y'all should get a PC. But go ahead, close up.
Yeah.
Venkat, I'm sorry to hold you up. My bad, bro.
But yeah, that's all I wanted, Venkat, man. I'm out.
Okay, cool. I'd like to
All right,
thank
peace,
everybody on the panel. Everyone, great job. Thanks so much for contributing. Appreciate all you guys. We'll be back again next week. We'll be at it. Next week will be episode 5, and it'll be this guy right here, Clarence Thomas. You know, he's got he's in the pockets of the rich guy. And that's a real problematic situation there. So I've been meaning to do Clarence Thomas like for the last 3 weeks, but every week something with the Republicans would happen, and it would complete. He was actually going to be a lame duck. Every week something happens with the Republicans. There's another story I had to push off for this week. I had to push it back for next week, just because there's just so much going on right now.
Hey, you don't have to worry. Clarence Thomas will always be a lame duck.
Oh my God. Yes, indeed. Yes,
indeed.
So we'll be signing off. Thanks to my colleagues. We'll see you guys next week on Tape Fist Politics. Until then, we'll see you. Have a great evening.